Today it became clear that the location where Eliza Fletcher's body was found was very close in proximity to the home of her accused murder's brother. Let's take a look at the map together. Eliza Fletcher was abducted at 4:20 a.m. in the morning on Friday, September 2nd from the intersection of Central Avenue and Zach H. Curlin Street near the University of Memphis campus. Her body was located by law enforcement at an abandoned home, which was about 7.5 miles away from where she was abducted, and this is in South Memphis. The affidavit for Cleotha Henderson's arrest states that he was seen at his brother's home, which was just half a mile from the site where Eliza's body was found around 7:50 a.m. And just hours after the abduction, he was cleaning out his car. That affidavit says that 2 witnesses, including his brother, told police he was cleaning the GMC Terrain with floor cleaner, washing his clothing in the sink at home, and acting strangely. And today, WREG obtained surveillance video that shows Cleotha Henderson cleaning out his vehicle, his car, the Terrain. Now, if you watch this video closely, you can see that black GMC Terrain pull into a spot in the parking lot of the Longview apartment complex, again, where the defendant's brother lives. And then he exits the vehicle and returns to clean it. There you can see on the video on your screen as he is right there exiting. You can see him in this video. Let's bring in now our own law enforcement experts joining us in Nashville, Tennessee, retired sergeant for the Nashville Police Department, Melissa Pinkleton, and in Atlanta, Georgia, former special agent in charge with the Bureau of Investigation in the state of Georgia, Trebor Randall. Thank you both for joining us today. This is, to me, one of the most frightening cases because statistically we know all too often crimes are committed at the hands of people that know the victim. But in this case, at this point in time, it appears to be a stranger. The defendant is a stranger. Yes, he's presumed innocent, but at this point in time, he is in jail without bond for the kidnapping and murder. So let's talk first about that aspect of it. Melissa, what are your thoughts when you hear stranger?
My thoughts are that, first, the police did a really good job tracking this guy down very quickly. He knew the route that They knew the route that she ran. They were able to go ahead and track that route, get the cameras along that route, and figure out who this was quickly and get to him quickly and get him arrested for those kidnapping charges.
And you're right, it has happened so quickly, but Trebor, the other thing that I like to see happen is it continues to unfold. We're learning about more and more of the evidence that law enforcement put together, from the shoes with his DNA that were found where she was abducted to this video that we have been showing. So Trebor, look at this video and tell me, what are your thoughts about the investigation as you're watching this additional piece of information? And I may not have Trebor at the moment. So Melissa, let me ask you.
I'm here, actually.
Okay, great. Thank you, Trebor. Thank you. So yes, tell us your thoughts on the investigation and that video that we were just watching.
I think, as she already alluded to, this came down to, good old-fashioned police work. Also, there was a forensic component, but not only them knowing her route, but also I believe the area that the remains were recovered in, that is usually going to be an area that's known to the suspect. It wasn't that far from where the brother lived, where he was seen cleaning out his car and trying to clean his clothes as well. So I think piecing together those things from the area of the route that she was running to where the remains were discovered, and being able to triangulate that to where the brother of the suspect lived. This is painstaking work, around the clock, very little sleep, but basically piecing these things together, and especially having witnesses, not necessarily eyewitnesses, but witnesses to his, behavior that was described as abnormal, and also the cleaning of the vehicle, which indicates he was trying to hide evidence.
So many different things that are coming together. And I think, significant to me, we talk about the legal aspect of this and probable cause and the arraignment. Those are the first steps when a defendant has been charged with a crime. And it's based on probable cause that that person committed these particular crimes with which they've been charged. In this case, Cleotha's been charged with the kidnapping as well as the murder and one other charge, tampering with evidence, for this young lady. But Tell me about your expertise, the law enforcement piece, because Melissa, as we're watching and talking to Chanley, literally right before she comes on air, she sees the police officers come with another person with some cutouts of what look like the shoes, and the person talking about where he located those in the road. And this is after the defendant's been charged. Is that typical?
It's not necessarily typical. I don't know if they were just there paying their respects, because you said they had a cutout pair, or if they were doing a walkthrough perhaps. So, I mean, it depends on what they were there for. She couldn't quite nail down what they were doing there. Typically, somebody involved will go through a walkthrough. However, if that's not it, they might have just been there helping them pay their respect. And that's a possibility too.
That's a really great point. We don't know exactly what they were doing there. Trebor, we do know that this defendant, again, presumption of innocence, but he is facing these charges. He is in jail without bond, presumption of innocence. However, tell me this, what do you think, what does law enforcement do with the fact that we know he served 20 years for a similar crime, a kidnapping, years ago?
Again, it's just disheartening the more that, this case unfolds and unravels and you find out about this suspect's past. I say often that, past behavior is often indicative of what someone is going to do in the future. And again, with narcotic investigations, we were often able to introduce what we call similar transactions, crimes that were similar in the past. I think that, that's going to be a stretch, but if they're able to introduce that, this person has been convicted of kidnapping before, has served time in prison, and probably now is indicating they probably never should have let him out. And he just did what predators do, it appears, if he is in fact guilty of this crime.
A predator. It's just a terrible case.